By the folks from the Mount Washington Valley Rec Path, well, at least a couple of the folks involved in the project. We've got Sally McMurdo and Chris Meier. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Mount Washington Valley Rec Path, it's been in the news lately, a lot going on. Let's start at the beginning. What is a rec path and why would we want this in the Mount Washington Valley? Sally.
Okay. Well, a rec path is a way for people to get around the community without having to travel on the roads. It benefits children to seniors, people who have to use assistive devices. It gives them a way to get through the community without dealing with the traffic. It's a safe and healthy way to get out and exercise and to commute to work and to get to places that people want to go in the community.
And this isn't a new concept. A lot of our viewers from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and other places across New England will realize, well, we've got a beautiful rec path in our town and it's utilized, but it's something that's missing here in the Mount Washington Valley, for exercise purposes, but also just connecting the towns too. It seems like it would be another way to generate interest in people walking from point to point. So a lot of benefits to this.
Definitely.
So the bike path, I call it the bike path sometimes, but it is going to be multi-use. You can walk, right. You can bike, and eventually the plan calls for connecting towns of the Mount Washington Valley, or it will just be North Conway.
No, the vision that our group had when it started back in 2006 was to connect all the towns in the Mount Washington Valley. Our hope is to go all the way from Bartlett through the Conways and over to the Maine state line and connect with the rec path over there.
All right, because Freiburg already has a relatively new rec path that's beautiful. Was there an inspiration for this? Was there one person who came to the forefront with this idea, and did they have like another town where they said, yes, this town did it right? Is there kind of a model for this project?
Well, there are two. Back in the early 90s, the Conway Rec Path Committee was formed, and they actually constructed the Conway Rec Path that goes to the high school and from the Smith Eastman Park. So they started with the idea of a rec path. Later on, a woman named Catherine had gone to another state and seen a rec path and came back all excited about it and got a bunch of local people who are bicyclists and outdoor people interested in forming a rec path committee, and that's where it sort of started.
All right, there's a lot of local support for this. I'm all excited for it. Chris, where does it stand now? I know there was recently a vote in Conway. What was the result of that vote, and what does that mean for the future of the rec path?
Well, the committee went to the Board of Selectmen first and got the Board of Selectmen support for the rec path. To get federal grant funds to build out the trail, what needs to happen is the town needs to sign off on it. So we went to the voters of Conway. We had a warrant article on the town warrant this April, and the voters voted in favor of allowing the town to act as a pass-through for the federal grant program, which was something we needed to get done. Now we applied for the federal grant last year. We came in 15th out of 20 to 25 projects that were applied for the funds. Only 13 of those projects were funded. So at this point, we're not funded. However, we plan to apply for that grant year after year. It's a yearly grant cycle. So we look forward to using that grant source as our primary funding for the first section of the trail, which would be the Dinsmore Road and Intervale down to John Fuller in North Conway.
Right. What would be some of the objections that people might have to the rec path? I know it's received a lot of support in North Conway and across the Mount Washington Valley, but what are some of the questions that you've heard about the bike path? Some
of the questions that we heard, and this was as we were standing with signs asking Conway voters to support the project and support the warrant article, but one of the concerns we had was using federal funds at all. Some people don't like using taxpayer money to fund alternative transportation projects like bike paths. However, what we said to these folks is whatever your view on federal spending, this money has already been allocated by the federal government for alternative transportation projects like bike paths. So it is going to be spent on bike paths somewhere, and this money has already been allocated to New Hampshire. So this money is going to be spent somewhere on bike paths. We're looking just to bring it to Conway. The other issue that was brought up by a number of people at our meetings and at the warrant article was the issue of paving. Some people, there's certain areas of town, including Whitaker Woods and the Bancroft piece next to Whitaker Woods, where people are either for or against having a paved path there. Our response to those folks is that come to our meetings, discuss paving. That's an issue that hasn't been decided yet. That will be decided in the engineering phase or in the build phase. We're still looking at the entire trail and how to build that out. And we invite all participants to come weigh in on that subject.
Right. I know this is kind of, this question is jumping the gun a little bit because a lot of it depends on federal funding and maybe other private sources of funding as well. But is there a timetable for this project? Do you have, in your best laid plans, is there a time when you think people might be actually using the Conway Rec Path?
Sure. If upon funding, we have about half the engineering done for the 1.8 mile section from Intervale to North Conway. We would have to complete the engineering on that section, and then would be able to build. So engineering would probably take about 3 to 6 months, and then we would be able to build after that. So upon funding, it would probably be about a year until we see actual construction occur.
Looking at some photos that you guys supplied of a recent event, I think this might have been a couple of years ago, over at Settlers Green. A lot of support for biking in the valley. There's a great Velo Club in town. And obviously there are so many benefits, and it would be a safe place that families can ride. We have very scenic farm roads. We have some great places to ride, but having a bike path would raise that to a whole new level.
Right.
Sally, if people want to get involved in this project, Chris mentioned meetings. When can people attend those meetings?
Well, we have monthly meetings at the Eastern Slope Inn on the third Wednesday of the month. I think our next one coming up will be June 17th at 5:30. People can attend and listen. We're also looking for volunteers to join our committees. And we have 6 committees going right now. We have project development committee, which comes up with the projects that we're going to focus on. We have the finance and fundraising committee, really important one. Yep. Anybody who can write a grant should sign up for that one. Community outreach and public relations, so we can get more people involved in getting this to happen. We also have a trail maintenance and stewardship committee, which will, when we have parts of the trail constructed, we'll make sure that they're maintained. And we have a membership committee that's looking for people who want to help out, become friends or supporters or sponsors. And then we also have a subcommittee, the Bartlett Committee, which is working on the section from Intervale to Bartlett.
All right. So if you've got time, if you've got the skills, definitely lend them to a great cause like this. This is very important to a lot of people here in the Mount Washington Valley. Or if, what about money? If someone wants to donate to this cause in one way or another.
There will be a donate button on our website.
I think there is currently. Right. Either look on our website. The website.
Yeah, we've got it. Look at our crack staff. We've got the donate button right there. Don't try to press it on your TV screen. Bring it up on your own computer or mobile device, and then click the donate button.
Right.
Great. Either that or send a check to the Mount Washington Valley Trails Association. That's a way to donate as well.
And what is the website where they can find that donate button? MWVtrails.com?
It is.
Right.
MWVtrails.com. Okay. Have we missed anything major that you guys want to get the word out about?
I think we've covered everything, but
much.
Come out, ask us any questions you have about any section of the trail. Look on the website, there's information about the trail there. And if you want to, come get involved and help us out with our effort and see the vision of a trail going through the Mount Washington Valley take effect. And
yeah.
have it here so everybody can use it.
How exciting would that be to be able to bike from North Conway or even point south all the way up to Intervale and Bartlett? It would connect the valley in a way that it's not connected now, and I think it would create so many opportunities again for recreation, but also the businesses in the area
It'd be a great
would benefit
economic
from this
boom.
too. People could move from North Conway Village and explore points north and south very easily
Without using a car.
without using a car, without experiencing traffic, and without having
in the middle of August.
right, without having to worry about getting hit by a car or anything like that. So, well, thank you guys so much for joining us and for the information. MWVtrails.com is the place to go for more information, to click that donate button or to check out their times for their next meetings. And we'll be back with more White Mountains Today.